America takes it in the 1997 All-American Bowl. Hi, everyone. I'm Barry Milligan. Welcome to the East Coast of Florida for what we expect to be a fantastic high school football all-star game. This game actually has its roots up in Allentown, Pennsylvania back in '94, but here we are 3 years later, and the game and the event is bigger and better than ever. And joining me for the broadcast, former Florida Gator and Miami Dolphins great Nat Moore. And Nat, not only do we expect big-time college football to benefit from these young men, I have a feeling that several of them may be playing this game for a living one day.
Well, Barry, these kids are bigger and faster and stronger than ever, and you can expect for these kids to play a lot and make an impact. And if they do, you can expect to see them play on Sunday because the scouts will be watching.
Now, one of the young men expected to make an impact as a freshman, big Kareem McKenzie, going to Penn State, one of the top linemen in America.
Yeah, he's 320, 6'7", and was the #1 rated offensive lineman coming out of high school this year. And for the East to be successful today, he needs to have a big ball game, Barry.
Now, passing will certainly be a huge part of the offenses on both sides. And when the West passes, look to Robert Williams, a young man ironically playing for the West squad, but he's from Miami.
Well, he's number 11. He's 6'5", he's 215 pounds, has 4.4 speed. You know, he's the Michael Irvin type with speed. Expect for him to be exciting today and to put the ball in the end zone.
And as usually is the case with all-star football games, there are some special rules for the '97 All-American Bowl. And to update you on that, we go to the third member of our broadcast crew, former Florida Gator linebacker James Bates.
That's right, Barry. The teams will be playing with a special set of rules. 4 12-minute quarters, firstly. Secondly, 40% of the plays must be passes today. On defense, man-to-man coverage all day long. There will be no zone coverage, and there will be no blitzing by the linebackers. There is, however, allowed a full rush on the kicking game. Sounds like it's lopsided a little bit to the offense, but that might just be me being a defensive player. However you get down to it, it's a football game. We've got some good football players out here today, and we're going to have a good time.
All right, thank you, James. Nothing left to do but tee it up. Kickoff coming up next of the 1997 All-American Bowl. The 1997 All-American Bowl is being brought to you by U.S. Amateur. By Viper M1. And by Adidas.
Hi, this bowl game is a kickoff event of our National High School Sports Classics. This new and exciting concept is a series that's designed to recognize amateur athletes across the country who excel in a broad range of sports. We expect that we'll be able to bring to you many more events of this nature. We hope that you enjoy them, so let's get back to the game.
Back at Blum Stadium at Dwyer High School, just about set for the kick of the 1997 All-American Bowl. First, let's go down to the sidelines. James Bates has a chance to catch up with our celebrity coaches.
Yes, Barry, celebrity coach for the West Side today, former Los Angeles Raider and Cleveland Brown, Greg Pruitt. Coach, what can we expect of the West today?
Well, being an offensive player myself, a running back particularly, we'll probably run the ball, and when we do throw it, we'll probably throw it to the backs.
Sounds good. And the celebrity coach for the East Side today, former Denver Bronco, Mike Fowler. Mike, what can we expect of those guys?
Hitting, and more hitting. I'm a free safety. That's all I live by.
We've got them ready to go down here. Back up to you, Barry.
Thank you, James. Back deep to receive for the East is number 22, Billy D. Greenwood, going to North Carolina, and Tony Driver from Louisville, Kentucky, headed to Notre Dame. Set to kick off for the West squad is number 12, Zak Haselmo out of Lompoc, California. He will be headed for UCLA. Haselmo has it teed up for the West, which won the toss but elected to defer. So we are just about set to go. James Bates down on the sideline. We'll have him running all over the field tonight here at Blum Stadium. Once again, windy conditions, Nat Moore, which again may impact the fact that 40% of this offense tonight, by rule, has to be passing.
Well, it will without a doubt affect the throwing of the football. You'll see some balls sail on the quarterbacks as well as some underthrows, so it will be advantageous to be throwing downwind.
Zak Haselmo, a USA Today All-American, had over 50 Division I offers, which indeed is very rare for a kicker. We are underway. Line drive, end over end, into the end zone and through, and that will be a touchback. And the East offense will come out under the direction of head coach Bob Enriquez and his quarterback, Romero Miller, number 15, 6'2", 209 out of Shannon, Mississippi. Romero Miller led his high school club to the 3A state championship, and what a high school title game he had. 288 yards and 4 touchdowns in the title game, and there you see for a career number 2 in the nation in all-purpose yards, Romero Miller with over 12,315. East comes out in the I. Now Jasper Sanks in motion. Lines up in the slot left. Miller back to throw under a heavy rush, steps in the pocket, and he will be sacked. First play results in a sack, and the man, that Lonnie Ford in there getting the pressure, and also Bobby DeMars, number 89, a 6'4" defensive tackle. DeMars getting the start. Headed to Southern Cal, 265 tackles in his final 2 years of high school, so with a loss of 2, that brings up 2nd and 12. Slot left, Miller again under center. After the long count, he'll run the delayed handoff right up the middle, and the handoff goes to Tony Driver, 6'2", 207, headed for Notre Dame. Monty Bassell, a middle linebacker, making the stop. There you see your offense tonight. Omar Easy and Jasper Sanks, the 2 starting running backs, but that really is very meaningless. Those guys will be in and out of there all night. Hampton, Cleland, Butkus, Caruso, McKenzie anchor the front line. Is that Butkus name familiar there, Nat?
Very familiar name, and he's
Uncle Dick.
Center heading to Illinois, trying to keep up the Butkus tradition.
Single setback was Omar Easy. A little down and out pattern intended for Bruce Branch. Falls incomplete, so 3 and out on the first offensive set for the East squad.
Well, the East squad was having some problems. Offensively, they weren't able to get started as the West were putting pressure on the quarterback the entire first series. And as you can see, a little error there as we take a good look at Bob Enriquez, head coach out of Tampa Catholic.
Right, brought virtually his staff intact. Bob Enriquez has done a terrific job in 10 seasons as the head coach of Tampa Catholic. Back to punt. Kevin Stemke averaged 42 yards per punt during his high school career. Nearly has it blocked, but gets away. A gorgeous spiral fielded at the 38-yard line by Bruce Branch. Branch makes a little stutter step and gets it up to the 30, and that's where the West will take over its first possession. There's your quarterback for the West, and what a great one he is. Drew Miller, 6'1", 195-pounder out of Lakewood, Washington, headed for BYU.
Yeah, you're talking about the mold of the BYU quarterbacks. This kid threw for over 9,000 yards during his career, so he's a good one.
48-yard punt for Stemke. Drew Miller, exactly right, 101 touchdowns, had 8 in one game. And Coach Billy Stubbs says he's the smoothest quarterback I have ever seen. Tommy Banks, a lone setback, draws the handoff. Big haul over the left side. Banks bowls his way for about 13 yards and a West first down.
Well, the West come out with a little trickery. We're expecting to see a lot of passing here. And Barry, they come right out of the box as Banks just runs over would-be tacklers and comes up with 10-plus yards for a first down.
With Victor Rogers and Brian Pollock, a couple of 300-pounders anchoring the left side of that line. Now we see straight drop back, touch pass downfield, incomplete. Pass intended for number 11, Robert Williams, the man we featured at the top of the broadcast. 6'5", 215-pounder, headed to Miami. There you see Miller. Starters, Banks and Woods in the backfield. Williams and Rod Perry. Another name familiar to you NFL fans. Stevens getting the start at the tight end spot. Rogers, Pollock, Nichols, Danoff, and Garrod anchoring the front line. Out of the eye, West, handoff to the tailback, a hole and about 4 yards over the right side. That's Dwayne Woods, who played his high school ball for the West head coach Billy Stubbs down at Salmon High School in Louisiana. 2 state titles for Stubbs and Salmon on the heels of Dwayne Woods. James Boyd with another tackle. That's his 2nd in a row.
Well, Woods had a hole coming off that right side, Barry, and Ron Israel came up and was able to put the stop on, but not before he picked up good yardage.
3rd down, 6 to go for the West in East Territory at the 42-yard line. Quick drop, long pass downfield, nearly intercepted at the 10-yard line. Broken up on the play by Stanford Simmons, 6'2", 192-pounder, headed to Auburn. Called perhaps the best athlete to come out of the state of Alabama this year. That state usually has quite a few of them.
They usually perform. Quite a bit of those young kids coming out of there going to Alabama and Auburn have talent. And he's a good one.
There you see Billy Stubbs out of Salmon High School. Recorded 98 wins in 10 seasons. You don't have to be a math major to tell you that that's real good. Back to punt now. The West will let it go. That is Jim Skursky, and it will bounce into the end zone. So Skursky's punt not able to pooch it inside and pin the East back near its own end zone. So the East will start 1st and 10 at the 20.
Putting those guys all the way across the board like that. That's right. That's exactly right. That's the 2A gaps.
We're able to listen in on a little strategy both sides of the field tonight as the East takes over from the 2nd possession. Jasper Sanks at the tailback spot tonight. Omar Easy at the full. East in the eye. Miller hands off right side. That is Jasper Sanks' little stutter step, and he bulls his way forward for about a 5-yard gain. Jasper Sanks, 6'3", 215, headed to Georgia. That's Marcus Tuiasosopo in there on the tackle. Green, Thomas, Carter, Winstrom along the line. Gregoric will also slip in there. They have to play a base 50. It's a 52 defense, which a lot of these young men are not accustomed to. Booker, Simmons, Rosal, and Tuiasosopo in the defensive backfield for the West. A lot of these guys used to coming out of more of a 4-3 type. Forces these linebackers to get in there tight and play the run. Pitch left side for the East, and great pursuit as Tony Driver is run out of bounds, bulldogged over there by number 1 Fred Booker, the left cornerback. Tell you, his high school coach and Fred. We're back with 7:29 to go first quarter. No score in the 1997 All-American Bowl. West takes over at its own 43-yard line. 1st and 10. After trading punts, the West has good field position. Now, Miller has a man open, wide open. And will he score? Going in and all the way. It's a long touchdown pass. Drew Miller finds Rod Perry all alone. Pete Perry Sr., his dad, had a 10-year NFL career, now a coach with the Chargers. That'll make him proud.
Well, that should make him proud to see his son split the seam going through the middle of the field. A little trickery by the East squad, and they were able to hit him going through the middle. I mean, the West squad, excuse me, as Rod Perry catches the touchdown, as Miller did a perfect job of laying it up and letting him run under.
Officially a 56-yard touchdown, and it's man coverage, remember that, and obviously just a blown coverage here.
Well, it's a blown coverage, but Rod Perry Jr. comes in motion, and there you see the defender gets lost, and Drew Miller just does a superb job of hanging the ball up, allowing Rod Perry Jr. to run under it and get in for the touchdown.
Billy D. Greenwood not able to catch up. 6-0. Kick is blocked, and blocked right back into the hands of the holder, and it will be no good as the kick Tuiasosopo thought about trying to run that in, but the kick by Zak Haselmo was blocked. So the point after, no good. That'll make it 6-0 West. Let's take another look at that PAT.
And they come right up the middle, and they just as the ball is being snapped, oh, excuse me, came around the side. That shows you the quickness of the guy coming off the corner, number 22, Billy D. Greenwood.
Greenwood, the guy who got burned on the touchdown play.
Well, that's the way. That's called making up for your first mistake.
He sure did.
Here we see just a perfectly thrown ball, and a good job by Rod Perry of adjusting to it and then turning on the afterburners to get into the end zone.
We told you we expected potentially at least a high-scoring game because of the rules. 40% of the offense has to be via the pass, and we knew with the credentials Drew Miller brought to this football game, and we just saw some of his ability right there.
And he's got a set of receivers to go to.
Sure does. So it will be Haselmo, the USA Today All-American, set to kick off again. For the East, Herman Banks back set to receive along, and it will be the East picking it up and returning it. Tony Driver. Bulls gets blasted at the 25-yard line, scrambles for 3 or 4 more yards. Tough running by Tony Driver on the kickoff return. Let's go down to the sidelines once again with James Bates.
Yes, I've got Rod down here. Rod, what kind of play did we have going on right there?
Oh, we just wanted to attack the middle because it seems like they were vacating it last series. Went in motion a little bit, just a short motion, ran a post up the middle, wide open.
Are you having a great time?
Oh, I'm having a great time down here. This is what we've been wanting.
Exactly what we've been wanting. Back up to you, Barry.
Thank you, James. Rod Perry Jr. Some excitement, a 56-yard touchdown reception. Very bright young man, too. Rod Perry on the honor roll every year he's in high school.
Well, you know, we always talk about coming from good stock, and when you think about his dad, Rod Perry Sr., that played for the Houston Oilers and was one of the great players of the NFL.
You gotta watch that now.
I had the opportunity to play against him, and I can tell you this here, when he was with the Rams, he was tough to beat.
Billy Stubbs happy about the current developments. Rod Perry now a coach with the Chargers organization.
He's out in San Diego.
Offset eye for the East as Romero Miller continues to quarterback the East squad. And delayed handoff. Looked like there was a bit of a mix-up in the backfield. Omar Easy never got a hand on that. James Green may be the premier defensive end in America this year. 6'4", 240 pounds. And Nat Moore, here's another one of these young men headed for LSU.
Well, this is a big, strong kid. And, I know LSU can't wait to get him in camp because the kid can run. He's got tremendous athletic ability. As you see him run down the quarterback there. Jarvis Green in on the tackle.
138 of those last year. Jarvis Green, there you see 40 tackles for losses, had 14 passes broken up out of Donaldsville, Louisiana.
But I can tell you what the head coach of LSU is looking at. He's looking at those 21 sacks, you know, the ability to put pressure on the quarterback, because every year they've had problems trying to do that.
He is a huge talent. 6:32 to go first quarter. West over the East by 6. Loss of 12 on first down, so make it 2nd and 22 as the East tries to get out of a hole. 6:32 to go first quarter, and the East trails the West by 6 points. Miller under center, lone setback his driver. Deep drop and pass thrown. He never could get free, could Tony Stewart. Now there's going to be a late flag thrown on the play. Tony Stewart tried to get away on a delay. He was held up by Ty Gregoric, and I believe they're going to call interference.
Well, they're going to call interference. He was held up by Ty Gregoric, but Michael Burke is the guy that came in and hit him before the ball got there. Matter of fact, Michael Burke did not do a good job of picking up the release of the football from the quarterback, and that's why he'll be hit with an infraction.
And that's sort of a rarity for Burke at 6'2", 210. A lot of people thinking maybe a little undersized, headed to Stanford, but the coaches say he's one of the best in the bunch.
You have a live ball foul, pass interference on the defense. It's going to be 15
Conacher tells us
yards,
pass
automatic
interference,
first down from the
15-yard penalty.
spot.
So that really the biggest offensive effort for the East so far.
Right here you see the tight end coming across, and Burt just tries to take his head off without actually picking up the football, and the ball's in the air. So when you don't play the football, you're going to get hit with the penalty for pass interference.
33-yard line is where the ball is marked. First down, 10 yards to go for the East. Finally, decent field position. Romero under center, gives off left side. Jasper Sanks tries to turn the corner, gets there. He'll be run out of bounds, but not before Jasper Sanks has a big-time gain. The parade All-American. A lot of people thought that young man was the #1 running back recruit in the United States this year.
Well, there, Barry, Jasper Sanks showed us why he's rated as one of the best running backs, especially the elusiveness. He was able to change his speed, change his get up and go, and then sprint to the corner, turn the corner, pick up good yardage for the East squad.
Give him 9 on the play for Jasper Sanks. Georgia outdueled Florida State, Georgia Tech, and Clemson for that young man's services. So Luke Butkus over the football, ready to snap to Miller. Second down 1 for the East. Now a little bit of confusion. Tony Driver now shifting slot left. In motion now is Driver. Miller back to throw. Looking right side. And again has to throw the ball very quickly. Tony Driver spun around and never had a chance at that reception. So with the incompletion, that'll bring up 3rd and 1.
Well, the West is just doing a good job of getting penetration, getting upfield, and forcing Miller to throw the ball before he's ready or before his receivers are able to uncover. And that's why we have such errant passes so far, Barry.
Driver going out of the game along with Omar Easy coming in. Antonio Williams for his first action headed to Alabama. And Sanks in there as well. 7 yards deep is Antonio Williams. 3rd down 1. Williams with the handoff. Stop cold. He will lose yardage. Oh, what a surge by that defensive line of the West, led by number 75, Kurt Ballers, 6'8", 264-pounder, headed to Notre Dame.
Well, that's the problem with running that I formation, where you've got your tailback Williams lined up 8 yards deep. You guys are able to come around the corner and catch him before you get turned upfield. That's just a tough play when you only need half a yard to get a first down.
Let's go down to James Bates with Coach Bill Stubbs.
I'm down here with Coach Bill Stubbs, head coach of the West End. Coach, things seem to be going well right now.
I tell you what, we a little eggs with that toast, huh?
Are you happy with the defensive play right now?
Yeah, they're playing good. They're running the ball. They're undersized, but they're very, very quick. So.
Thanks, Coach. Back to you, Barry.
Thank you, James. Good job. Kick is away from the East, and it's going to die. They need to get on that one. Nice pooch kick that will be down inside the 20-yard line. It'll be spotted at the 19, and that is where the West will take over. Nice punt once again from Kevin Stemke.
Well, Barry, Kevin Stemke might be the MVP for the East so far, because he's doing a tremendous job of getting the ball off under pressure and pinning the West squad back, giving them bad field position.
Stemke, a future Badger. So now, deep in their end of the field, West will have 1st and 10 at their own 19-yard line. In the eye, Tommy Banks lined up at the fullback spot. Dwayne Woods at the tail. Woods gets the call. Instead, no, that's Maliefu McKenzie who gets the call. Maliefu, 8.1 yards per carry, 3,700 rushing yards, and he's headed to Southern Cal.
Power's real good, too, Coach.
Well, this is what
right, dive up. Okay.
Well,
the way they're playing weak side, they've got their end outside of the tackle. Okay? Inside. We can run dive up in there and gash them. Okay? Okay. We can even go dive option left and just hand it or dive. Okay?
Offensive strategy, and it gives you a little preview perhaps of the next East possession. Pass away from Miller, almost picked off, and it drops harmlessly incomplete, intended for Brandon Stevens, the big tight end. We may see those two young men hook up a lot in the future. Miller and Stevens both headed to Brigham Young.
Well, we've got an injury here, and well, let's go back and see if we can see what happened here. As you see Miller trying to get him the football, and basically there's just two guys colliding, nothing out of the extraordinary.
It looked like well, it's Greenwood is up now. I thought it might be Billy D. Greenwood that had gone down.
I can't see the numbers.
Yeah, there wasn't really a collision of any sort.
No, just two guys playing the football and sort of ran into each other. You know, going back to the last clip where we had the coaches from the East squad, you know, you see them working on trying to make some adjustments. You know, when you see these kids out here playing, whatever the system that you put in, it doesn't necessarily always work. And here we see Coach Enriquez as he goes back, and they're making the adjustments where they're looking at running the ball inside because it's tough to get outside.
They're at the heels of the defensive tackles, and they're coming every play. We run pass, okay? And you know, I mean, that's fine. We can do it. We'll just play football. I'd rather play football than all this, you know, screwy stuff anyhow.
Bob Enriquez has a problem with the rules interpretation. I believe he's questioning how the blitz package that the West has employed is working right now. As you see the total yards, very, very dominant West versus the East right now. We do understand that it is number 1 Asa Francis, the 6'3", 215-pound outside linebacker, going to Auburn. That is the young man that is down on the field. We'll take a break with 4:33 left first quarter, and the West leading the East by a score of 6-0. 3rd and 9 for the West from their own 20-yard line with 4:33 to go first quarter. West leading the East 6-0 in the 97 All-American Bowl. Perry in motion. Miller back to pass, looking over the middle. Same play to score the touchdown. Complete again. Maliefu McKenzie breaks one tackle, and he is caught by the heels at the 20-yard line. Another huge gain. He is finally run down by Billy D. Greenwood.
Well, what we're seeing, Barry, is the effect of playing this man coverage where the middle of the field is wide open. As you see, once again, the West takes advantage. Little pattern trying to hit McKenzie, streaking through the middle as he beats his would-be defender. And then here comes Israel. He's coming in, he's turning the speed on, tries to strip the ball away, but he's just not strong enough.
61 yards on the completion. Maliefu McKenzie going to Southern Cal. There's a load for you, and he can move quickly. 1st down and 10 on the 17-yard line of the East. Inside handoff to the fullback, Tommy Banks. Gains short yardage. Give him about 2. We'll call it 2nd and 8. Looks like Asa Francis is just fine. Tommy Banks, another one of those young men. I'm telling you, by our rosters today, Jerry DiNardo is going to have a bright future ahead with the Bengal Tigers of LSU.
And they are really up and coming in that Southeastern Conference, and they're on the heels of Tennessee and Florida and those schools. So you can see why he's so happy with the recruiting class that he's got coming in this year.
Brandon Stevens comes up hobbling, the 6'6", 235-pound tight end. So he will come out, and Tracy Wistrom will head in. There you see, going back to Cali, players' college choices. LSU with 3 in there, but they have 1 player on each roster. Southern Cal, the big winner here, Nat.
Southern Cal is UCLA and even Colorado.
Southern Cal, a school, too, frankly, that has come under some criticism in recent years because they haven't recruited as well, and that program has not been among the upper echelon. We should remind our viewers as well, obviously, when you have an All-American football game, when no one representing the defending national champion, you raise an eyebrow. the recruits for Florida and Florida State were required to report to those respective schools and were not eligible to compete in this game, which is unfortunate.
Very unfortunate for our viewers, because the University of Florida was number 4 as far as the recruiting class, and Florida State was once again number 1. So we're missing some super players here today, but with the 70 that we've got, there's no complaints.
We had a penalty on the play that went against the East, so that will make it 1st and goal from the 9 for the West. Miller, quick drop, goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Perry. Second time tonight that those two have connected for 6 points.
Well, what happened on that play is Ron Israel bit the cheese. Rod Perry Jr. gave him a little move inside and then ducked back outside. Drew Miller did a good job of hanging it up. And then watch the footwork of Rod Perry Jr. as he works his feet there on the sideline, make sure he gets it in. In high school, you only got to have 1 foot in, and he did a good job of working that sideline before he went out of bounds.
Exactly right. Now, the West come over. Will they go for 2? Remember, the first point after was blocked by the East. So Billy Stubbs coming over. That is the second TD reception today for Rod Perry Jr. That a 9-yarder to go along with the 56-yarder that he had earlier.
Well, Rod Perry Jr. without a doubt has quick feet and great speed and tremendous concentration, and they're just finding a way to get the ball in his hands here today.
Start bringing linebackers. They're going to do that, then we'll just play regular football.
Bob Enriquez and his coaching staff talking about some adjustments that they may make in subsequent series here. And still, Coach Bill Stubbs has his special teams over there. There's a few high fives going around. Rod Perry Jr. deserves a couple. Second team USA Today All-American. One of those 5 players that will continue his football career at Southern Cal.
Oh, boy.
Now the official, John Conacher, going to try and break up that party. And the West will go for 2.
29 pitch, Coach. I'll show you on the sheet.
They will go for 2. Coming into the game, Maliefu McKenzie will line up in the backfield along with number 22, Dwayne Woods. Woods at 5'9", 192. Remember, we told you, led Salmon High School, Bill Stubbs' club, to a couple of state championships. A lot of people felt he was a little undersized. He will go to Southern Miss. Miller, play action, rolling right, looking to the end zone, and it's caught by Tracy Wistrom. Wistrom, a starting defensive end, also plays a little tight end, and you see right there, plays it very well. 6'5", 205, headed for Nebraska. That 2-point conversion gives the West a 14-0 lead.
Well, Wistrom just does a good job as Drew Miller does play fakes, gets outside of the rush, and then he finds Tracy Wistrom, and Wistrom just uses a little basketball move here on Ron Israel as he just pushes off and stays in bounds.
Well, his brother has been a starter ever since going to Nebraska. Tracy Wistrom says, hey, little brother's got a little talent too. Walks the walk on the right sideline. Wistrom's 2-point conversion makes it 14-0 West over the East. And we still have 3:27 to go, first period. There you see your scoring drive, Nat. 5 plays, 81 yards. Of course, the big one, the 61-yard hookup with Drew Miller and Maliefu McKenzie.
I'll tell you, until they find a way to protect the middle of the field, and I know you can't play zone, but you've got to have guys with vision and coming off to try and help out, because if you leave the middle of the middle of the field open, you're going to be victimized.
Jim Skursky out of Seattle, Washington, who will be a Husky as a collegiate player, blasts one all the way through the end zone. His club had a couple of straight state championships. He's a Street and Smith All-American, and shows you why with that leg. Let's go back down once again to James Bates.
It's got to be the shoes. It's got to be the shoes. I think in Rod Perry's case, it's the socks. Bringing a new West Coast style all the way out here to Florida. Rod, what's with these socks? Hey, have they helped you on the 2 touchdowns?
Hey, they've been doing all right so far, so I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing.
Hey, I might have to go back and play some ball. Back up to you, Barry.
Thank you, James. East trying to get something going. Delayed handoff from Romero Miller. They tried the dive. Left side, the hole was there for a moment. Picking up about 4 yards on the play is Jasper Sanks.
Banks did a good job reading the blocking up front. You know, did a little move to the right, saw the opening to the left, came back and was able to pick up good yardage to try and get this team out of that hole they're in.
Anthony Thomas on the stop. Thomas, that prototypical Arizona player at 6'3", 250. Great size, terrific speed to go along with it. Had 19 sacks. Hopes to be a part of that Red Storm defense. Second down, 6. Miller out of the offset eye. Handoff again. Goes right up the gut. Nice play by Antonio Williams. The 6', 210-pounder going to Alabama bowled his way up very near and across the 30-yard line. In fact, first down yardage, tackle made by Andre Carter.
What we're starting to see, Barry, now is the adjustments that Coach Bob Enriquez was making on the sideline, where they felt they could run the ball up inside. And as you see, they're starting to move the football.
You see Antonio Williams, 4,900 yards, 75 touchdowns, Mr. Football in the state of Alabama a year ago. And oh, by the way, he benches 395. First and 10 for the East. At the 31-yard line. Miller again over center. Takes the handoff. Play action fake. Miller under big time rush. Gets it away and it's almost picked off. Great defensive play by Eric Rosel. In pursuit was number 88 Lonnie Ford, headed to Southern Cal. 6'3", 225, showing great speed, forcing Romero Miller to throw that one away, and Rosel nearly picked it off.
Well, there's just so much pressure as they come off the backside, and he's just running for his life here and does a good job of trying to get rid of the football, but almost throws the interception. But the tight end, Stevens, comes back to meet the football and strips it out, so it's not intercepted.
There you see Lonnie, 6'3", 225. Out-recruited Colorado and Arizona did USC for his services. Make it 2nd and 10 now after the incompletion. Ball still at the 31. Miller straight drop back. Will go long. Great form on the pass and just out of the reach of the intended receiver out there. Number 2, Herman Banks. 6'1", 170-pounder going to Auburn. Got all the way horizontal, but just could not get the fingertips on the football.
Well, Herman Banks showed us some speed as he goes to lay out forward. Just a tremendous effort by Herman Banks as he's trying to spark his ball club to get some on the board.
Herman Banks rated one of the top 5 wideouts in the country this year, but that just a little out of reach. There you see his numbers. 23.86 average, 21.5 yards per catch.
I was told by some of the coaches that he had 4.3 speed, and you could see that burst after the ball was in the air as he tried to go and get it.
Robert Jackson was looking at tail lights, that's for sure. Miller back to pass again on 3rd and 10 over the middle. Has a man open, it just can't get the ball to his tight end, Tony Stewart, who had broken free on the play from Robert Jackson, but they just could not make the connection, so that will bring up 4th down.
Well, he had him open, but, you know, we see the effects of these guys coming in here for an all-star game, only having a week to practice where they're miscuing. You know, you've got to play. You're running a tight end bow out, and the tight end takes it deeper than the quarterback expects because the quarterback's getting so much pressure, Barrett, he's got to throw it early.
Kevin Stemke once again back to punt, averaging 41 yards so far on 3 kicks. You're exactly right, Nat. Billy Stubbs says, look, you know, first couple of days, all we can do is shake off the dust. They have so many activities and things going. There's just so much time to work on things. Stemke gets the roll for the East. The ball going inside the 30-yard line and will be down at the 26-yard line. That's where the West will take over. 1st and 10. West leading at 14-0 with 1:23 to go in the first quarter and trying for more.
Football game. That ball's there. You're a touchdown now. Okay. Good job. We'll be all right.
There you see
they won't blitz in that time, Coach.
Playing cheerleader a bit. Keeping his heads up of his East All-Stars. West take over again.
We're all right. We'll get you some.
And it will be Drew Miller once again. 3 out of 6. 126 with a couple of touchdowns. Handoff to Dwayne Woods, and Woods may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, running a little trap to the right side, tackled by the cornerback Ron Israel.
Ron Israel did a good job of coming up forcing. There's pressure coming from the backside. Ron Israel reads it, gets upfield, doesn't give the back anywhere to go. Turns him back into all the pursuit that's coming.
Good pursuit by Asa Francis as well. Good to see Francis back on the field after being shaken up earlier. They'll call it no gain officially. He actually lost about a half yard. We'll call it 2nd and a long 10. Out of the eye. Miller with the handoff. Fakes the handoff. Francis is going to get the sack. Asa Francis got around big number 68, Brian Pollock, and recorded the sack, and it's a big loss.
Well, they brought Asa Francis from off the corner that time, and he just outrushed this guy with nothing but sheer speed. Little arm over, and there's just nowhere for Miller to go. As you see, Asa Francis comes back in. You know, earlier you said something about this guy getting hurt, but you know, when you're that age, there's no such thing as getting hurt.
You're right, especially when you're playing in an all-star game. 11 yards the loss on the sack by Francis. Make it 3rd and 21, and it will be 3rd and 21 when we begin the second quarter. 1 quarter in the books from the 1997 All-American Bowl, and it's West 14, East nothing. New quarterback for the West, Edmund Stansberry, takes the snap and will be buried. Consecutive sacks. This time it's number 65, Dorsett Davis, after pressure is applied by Kenny Smith and Asa Francis again. Dorsett Davis finishes him off, and his high school coach, Nat Moore, you will appreciate this, headed for Mississippi State, says this young man was just plain mean.
Well, if you're going to play defense, you're going to play that defensive line. You got to have a mean streak. And, you know, we're starting to see the effects of good coaching. Coach Enriquez kept his team in the ball game, you know, made some adjustments. Now you see him defensively starting to put pressure on the East squad, as well as, you know, you're also starting to get something happening offensively. So good coaching eventually turns things around.
And an inauspicious debut for the young man you just saw, Edmund Stansberry, 6'3", 2 1/4, going to UCLA. Now, West in a deep hole, and the roll will go for the East. In fact, the punt, not a great one, as for the West, Jim Skursky punted from 9 yards deep in his own end zone. So a great opportunity right now after that 29-yard punt for the East to get some points on the board with 11 minutes even to go in the first half. Looked like, Nat, that the East had a little success running the football earlier. Think they'll go back to that?
Well, I think they've got to run the football. You say you got to throw it 40% of the time. That means that you can run it 60% of the time. And until you make them stay at home and play the run, it's going to be hard to throw the football.
Likewise, new quarterback for the East. This is Luke Richmond, 6'4", 225, headed to UConn. Pitch goes to Omar Easy around the right side. He is tracked down and stopped by number 10, Ty Gregoric. Gregoric, one of those 3 players going to Colorado, 6'3", 250-pounder. You talk about an unfair advantage. Rick Neuheisel took the Butkus Trophy to Ty Gregoric's house when he was recruiting him. You think that'll sway you?
Well, you, as a head coach, and as competitive as college football there is, you use every trick in the book to try and get your man.
Colorado beat out Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Nebraska. Ty Gregoric rated by many as the #1 middle linebacker in the United States. 1 yard gain for Easy, 2nd and 9 now at the 34-yard line. Richmond back to pass, plenty of time. The release man is the tight end who makes the catch. Tony Stewart will have first down yardage. Excellent release. Stewart, the 6'6", 235-pounder, going to Penn State. Let's check in again with James Bates.
Those same Auburn fans that were holding their breath a few minutes ago for Asa, I'm sure, are real excited about the play of the last series. A couple big plays, hopefully get the Blue back fired up.
Yeah, I think so. I took that cheap shot and turned around and used it as a positive matter. I use it as a wake-up call, and I try to lead by example, so I just try to get the team up into the game, so hopefully we're going to take this.
Leading by example. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, James. Good job. Asa Francis, he's into it.
Well, he's into it. He said he took that cheap shot as a wake-up call, because out there, if you're walking around sleep dreaming, you will get hit.
Delayed handoff to Omar Easy, or that's Jasper Sanks rather. Gregoric and Bissell combined for the tackle. Monty Bissell headed for Kansas State. 6'4", 238 pounds, one of those prototypical Kansas State linebackers. Michael Burke now has taken a shot coming over near the sideline. With that, we will take a quick timeout. 9:24 to go in the first half. West still leading the East 14-0.
Where did the power flow come from?
With Nat Moore and sideline correspondent James Bates, I'm Barry Milligan. Great to have you back at the 1997 All-American Bowl. 14-0 West, but the East is threatening inside the West 20. Richmond again back to pass, looking into the end zone. It'll be a battle there. Jump ball, and it's dropped, nearly caught, and a flag thrown on the play. There was some pushing and shoving going on at the goal line.
Well, anytime you throw the ball up for a jump ball, it's anyone's ball, and you had both the defender and the receiver going up, jostling for position, and looked like the defense got hit with the interference call.
They certainly did. It will be ruled pass interference on the West. Robert Jackson back there battling, as that pass was nearly caught anyway by Bruce Branch.
A pass interference to the goal line, automatic first down.
Thank you very much, John Conacher. First and goal for the East. Ball will be placed just inside the 10-yard line. And that is perhaps the worst place of all to have first and goal.
Well, it's really not that bad, because you still got 19 yards to work with, and in a system where you're throwing the football quite a bit, the defenders still have to cover, and you've got 19 yards to get open and catch the football.
Quick handoff right side and battling towards the end zone, and touchdown Jasper Sanks. That's one of those dive plays that Bob Enriquez says it's wide open and will work, and it did.
As we talked about earlier in the opening, the ability to run the football up the middle behind those big offensive linemen. And there you see Jasper Sanks off the right tackle's butt for an easy touchdown, as he does a good job of shaking a would-be tackler and then lowering his head and getting into the end zone.
Well, if you're going to run the football, Nat, wouldn't you like to have a guy like Kareem McKenzie to run around?
Well, that's the guy that I would be following. As soon as I come up, I'd look and see where this big guy's at. And then if they had the play going the other way, I said, don't worry about it, big boy. I'm coming back to your side on a reverse.
That's a right side, Nat. The right guard, Jordan Caruso, 6'5", 320, going to Penn State. The right tackle, Kareem McKenzie, 6'7", 330, going to Penn State.
Well, you know, Penn State had the #2 recruiting class, and here's another look as it comes right at you. As you see, Sanks just doing a good job of putting his head down, knowing where the goal line is, scoring the touchdown to get his team on the board.
Out of Columbus, Georgia, Jasper Sanks, a parade All-American, 9+ yards per carry at Columbus. Going to be a dog.
Jasper right here if you want him.
5 carries for 30 yards and that 9-yard touchdown for Jasper Sanks. That makes it 14-7, and the East right back in it with 8:49 to go, second quarter.
When you look at that average per carry, 6 yards in a game where they're supposed to be throwing the football, that's not bad.
So for the first time, the East will have the luxury of kicking the ball off, and it will be Greg Owens to do the honors. Owens out of Stuart, Florida, moved actually to Stuart from Virginia, but will go back and play his collegiate football for Coach Welsh and the Cavaliers.
Well, the Cavaliers have got that program turned around, and anytime you can get a place kicker, a punter that can help your team win, you've got to be excited about it.
That's a name you may want to remember for several reasons. Greg Owens, #2 rated kicker in the United States by Super Prep, and also he's going to be a pre-law student at UVA if you ever need any legal help down the road. Pretty good program there. Owens set to kick off, deep to receive, Fred Booker Jr. and Dwayne Woods for the West. Bouncing ball, nobody wants it. Booker will take it, fakes the handoff left. Now, coming to the left side of the field, breaks one tackle and trips out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. They'll mark him out at about the 13. So good job of coverage by the East. Let's go down once again to James Bates.
I may have to make a call up to Gainesville tonight and warn some guys about this Bulldog to be Jasper Sanks. Jasper, hey, great run right there. What kind of play do you have going on?
Well, we had a 22 ISO, just a lead right off the outside, pick up the guard, a fullback kick in and kick the middle linebacker to the inside and just cut it up in there.
You think you have the offense in gear now?
Yeah, I think we're ready now. We needed a big play like that to spark the offense. That was a great pass from Luke to Tony Stewart. That sparked the run, so that's all we need.
Hopefully. Back to you, Barry.
Thank you, James. No spying allowed, by the way, for those Gators. Stansberry back to pass. Intended for Rod Perry, underthrown. Great coverage on the play, nonetheless. Plenty of blue shirts over there all around the intended receiver. There's a scoring drive, 4 plays, 34 yards, 2:11 off the clock. Jasper Sanks finishing things up with that 9-yard touchdown run.
Well, that's what happened when you get that short field, Barry. You get a short field, most times you're going to put points on the board. That time the East was able to pin them back, and they were able to get good field position, go in and score.
After the incompletion by Stansberry, 2nd down, 10. West lining it up from their own 13-yard line. Fake, and nobody bites on that. The runner, Maliefu McKenzie, is stopped in the backfield
by Jabari Holloway. First time we got a chance to call his name today. Good job of getting upfield, not being fooled by the play action.
Jabari Holloway, USA Today honorable mention All-American, had offers from LSU, Tennessee, Florida, and chose Notre Dame. You see, nearing the 8-minute mark, 3rd down, 10, officially no gain on the play. Stansberry back to pass, under a rush, gets the pass away, nearly caught through the outstretched arms of Robert Williams. Double coverage down deep, as back there James Boyd had the single coverage. Stanford Simmons came over from his free safety spot to help out on the play. So 3 and out for the West, and conceivably once again excellent field position for the East after this punt attempt by Jim Skursky.
Well, what the East has done is turn up that defensive pressure, and they're just not allowing the West any room to maneuver.
Skursky out of Seattle, Washington, will punt to Tony Driver. Driver will let it bounce after a very short kick, and the ball bouncing around and will go out of bounds at the 41-yard line of the West. Not a good kick, 28 yards on the kick. So with 7:44 to play, Bill Stubbs has a little concern on his face.
Of course, it has to concern him that all of a sudden they're being pushed back, and every time the quarterback takes the snap, takes 2 steps, you've got blue shirts in his face. And then when you really need a big boost from your kicking game, you get a 28-yard kick from Skursky.
Wide receivers doubling up right and left side. Omar Easy, the lone setback. Richmond back. The fumble in the air. Popped up in the air. Let's see who gets it. Wild scramble for the ball. It looked like Monty Bazell was the first guy there, but he was out-battled for the ball. That might have been Kareem McKenzie, the big tackle that just shoved that linebacker out of the way.
Yeah, when you're 330 pounds, as you see, there's a lot of pressure there in the pocket. Ball comes loose. It's bouncing around everywhere, and there comes big Kareem. He decided that I want the football. You know, very seldom do those linemen get a chance to get their hands on the football, and it was all his.
So McKenzie with the fumble recovery. Bissell did everything he could, but he's given up, about 70 or 80 pounds on that interchange, although it is a loss of 5 on the play. And jumping up, DeCorey Hampton, the left tackle, 6'7", 325, going to Memphis. Not in sync with the snap count there, so it'll be a procedure penalty against the East. Hampton, an honorable mention USA Today All-American, 5-yard penalty, and that will drive the East 5 yards back further, and it will be 2nd down now and 20. Inside 7 minutes to go, second quarter. West leading the East 14-7 here in the 1997 All-American Bowl. Richmond under center, offset I for the East. Richmond back to pass, big rush, and he's going down. That's Andre Carter, 6'5", 242-pounder, going to California. The Bears out-recruited Miami and Arizona for that very talented young man. USA Today, first team All-American, and he came through untouched.
Came through, had to be a busted assignment the way he came through. Nobody touched him, nobody blocked him. But you know what that reminds me of? His dad, Reuben Hurricane Carter, who also went to University of Miami. So it's got to be a sore loss for University of Miami not to be able to get this kid, losing him to Cal.
I wouldn't want to sit around that Thanksgiving dinner table. Third down and 30. The East going the wrong direction. They started at the West 41-yard line. Now line it up at their own 38. Long pass. Richmond lays one up in the air. And it's caught. Oh, what a catch.
Bruce Branch just made a superb catch, just running under the football. Luke Richmond just does a good job of hanging the ball real high and giving his receivers a chance to make a play for him here, Barry.
Branch out-duel Fred Booker. Richmond just lays it up and gives Branch a chance to run underneath it and out-duel that very talented left cornerback Fred Booker for the football. Another future Nittany Lion.
And a good job of keeping his feet in bounds as Booker lost sight of the football, but Branch saw it all the way and made the adjustment on the ball.
Huge play. There you see the numbers for Branch, which would have been much greater had he not been injured for much of his senior season. 38 yards on the completion. First down East. Oh, big rush. Coming through that time is Jarvis Green with his second sack of the game.
Well, they just can't seem to block these outside guys with speed. As we go through the ball game, anytime that either team want to turn up the heat, they just bring the guy off the corner, and there's just no one there to get him, and he comes untouched.
Wow.
You know, there had to be another busted assignment, which is what you get in all-star games.
Jarvis Green, 6'4", 240 out of Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Bill Stubbs said, you know, he saw too much of that guy. He said he is a huge talent. 17 sacks his senior season. Has a couple here tonight. Runs a 4.6 40. So with the sack, it is second down and 20. Nearing the 5-minute mark in the second quarter. East looking for a touchdown and an extra point that would tie this game. Richmond under center. Driver in the slot. Driver takes the pass. Short pass. Oh, he throws the football straight in the air. It rolls forward, and who gets it? Looks like the West jumped on it. Look at Caruso and McKenzie. The big boys in there piled on again, but this time I believe it will be the West that comes up with the football. It is Kurt Ballers, the defensive tackle. 6'8", 265, going to Notre Dame.
Well, here they try and trick Jarvis Green, and the running back does a good job of staying on his feet, running with the football, but he forgets to put the ball away.
Michael Burke had him around the ankle, Nat. He just lost the handle.
Well, he lost the handle, and you know, when it starts bouncing around, it's anybody's football, and usually the big guys or the strongest guys are going to win at the bottom of the pile.
Stansberry, handoff and a cutback. Uh-oh, big hole, and a great run for Dwayne Woods. The 5'9", 192-pounder out of Southern Miss. Ron Israel has to come up from his cornerback spot to make the carry, but not before Dwayne Woods rips off a big one.
Well, Dwayne Woods showed you some quick feet that time as he pops it up the middle, and then he scoots outside. I just see him turning on the speed, putting on a move, little sidestep there, tries to freeze the defender, but there's too much pursuit.
28 yards on the gain by Dwayne Woods. Or 18 rather, 18 yards on the gain. Again, the pitch to Woods right side. This time loses his footing and falls down over there. That is Ron Israel. James Boyd over there making the stop as well. It seems like the Penn State guys are doing the job, although there's a big guy, Kurt Ballers, who said the home visit by Lou Holtz swung him to Notre Dame. You could talk to a lot of young men that could probably say the same thing, huh?
Well, Lou Holtz was one of the best recruiters of all time in college football, and I would pity the kid that was having to make a tough decision, and Lou Holtz showed up.
Will now ultimately, of course, play for Bob Davie. Under heavy pressure, Stansberry is sacked. Good pressure by Jermise Jones, number 79. The left tackle, the big guy, 6'7", 310, going to Virginia. And Jabari Holloway, the outside linebacker, headed for Notre Dame, finishes things off.
What we're starting to see is that anytime that you run the football, you got a chance. But if you're going back trying to throw it, they're bringing pressure every time. They're not concerned with the run. They heard that 40% chance of throwing the football. I want to get a sack, says the big guy.
Well, Holloway got a pop in there after Jermise Jones slowed him down. On the sack, it makes it 3rd and 22. Back to pass is Stansberry, whips one across the middle. Dwayne Woods breaks one tackle, cannot break another. James Boyd comes up from his strong safety spot to make the tackle, but it is short of first down yardage. Once again, let's go down to the sidelines with James Bates.
I got Kurt Bollers here. Big fumble recovery there, Kurt. Right place at the right time, or just pure athletic talent?
Well, I was just trying to get downfield as fast as I could, hoping that ball would pop out, and luckily it did. Defensive back, whoever hit it out, that's who deserves the credit. I just stumbled over it.
That's right. Good hustle. Back up to you, Barry.
Thank you, James. 6'8", 265 out of Whittier, California. Kurt Bollers with a big play here. 4th down now for the West. They'll have to punt. Tony Driver on the fake punt does not work, and a little pushing and shoving going on. The little guy, Dwayne Woods, is outmanned, and the fake does not work. East with the ball when we come back. 2:03 to go in the half. West still leading it by a touchdown. Here you see the fake punt attempt. Dwayne Woods went down, and that's a big break, Nat Moore, for the East squad.
Well, what Dwayne does here is he tries to run before catching the football. Anytime that you're trying to fool the other team, the opponent, you've got to make sure of the catch and then run.
East with the ball in West territory at the 48-yard line. Luke Richmond, handoff right side, the dive again and again. It picks up positive yardage for the East. Omar Easy, 6'2", 238-pounder. Guess where he's going? Penn State. Well, how many times have we called that school?
Well, Penn State was only the #2 recruiting class of the colleges this year, and when you start to look at these guys, Omar Easy and big guy McKenzie, you're talking about some talent.
Well, there are a few things you can count on. Florida, FSU, Penn State having great recruiting years. You can also count on late afternoon thunderstorms when you're on the east coast of Florida, and there are some ominous skies here in Palm Beach Gardens. 2nd and 6. Richmond, handoff, left side, sweeping around is Antonio Williams. Great gain by Antonio Williams as he got around the corner. The 6-footer going to Bama, picks up first down yardage for the East.
Well, I'll tell you what we're starting to see here, Barry, and as an ex-running back turned receiver, we're starting to see this offensive lineman on both sides take charge when you run the football. Offensive linemen like to go forward. They don't like to be backing up pass rush because now they become defenders. But when you give them the chance to reach out and strike somebody, you're going to get good yardage. And now you see both teams running the ball effectively, even though they're still having problems trying to throw it.
Hey, Luke Richmond has done a fine job coming in replacing Romero Miller. It's 1st and 10 at the 35 with 50 seconds to go on a running clock. That ball deflected at the line of scrimmage and falls incomplete. Richmond trying to find Bruce Branch out in the right flat and had the ball knocked away.
Big Tony Barcel jumped up and swatted it away as Luke Richmond tried to get it out into the flat to his tight end.
So on the incompletion, 2nd down, 10 yards to go, 48 seconds left. There you see Monty Bissell, 6'4", 238, going to K-State. Top 10 in his senior class. One thing, too, that we have seen dotting this roster of 70 great players, so many with GPAs well over 3.5, National Honor Society members, top 10s, class presidents. This is just a great group of kids. Boy, that is a knock. Antoine Simmons laid a lick on the East receiver. Was it a fumble? Was it ruled a catch and a fumble? If it is, the West may have the football. That's what they think, and indeed, it is ruled a catch and a fumble. Herman Banks had it knocked loose. Oh, look at the lick.
A tremendous hit put on by Anton Simmons as Herman Banks makes the catch and then doesn't do a good job of tucking the ball away. And those are mistakes that you make when you're young like this, and all these corrections will be made when they get into college. Here he makes the catch. As you can see, he never took time to look at the ball and tuck it away. And in comes...
That was Fred Booker that recovered the fumble, but the West cannot take advantage on the play as the sack recorded by number 65 on the West squad, or East squad rather. Dorsett Davis comes up with a sack. Here you see Antoine Simmons headed to Southern Cal. Great athlete, stretching it out after making a big play. 20 seconds to go. Second down, 16 for the West. Just inside their own 30-yard line. I invite you to stay with us coming up as you take another look at.
They've got to have a gadget play here.
Coach Enriquez.
Hook and lateral, okay, something like that.
Watching out for the trick play, and very wisely so.
Vic, Daryl, hook and lateral, some gadget right here, okay? Pitch pass, all right. I know you know.
I tell you, I don't know about you, Barry, but I am impressed. I am impressed with Coach Enriquez because he's always on the ball and having fun at it.
He sure is.
The world's about to come to an end here.
We're with you, Bob, on that weather report. Interview with Jerry Bergman, the president of U.S. Amateur Sports. Upcoming at halftime is Bill Stubbs, perhaps putting in some sort of trick play. We shall see momentarily. Here you see a look at the sky. Bob Enriquez, graduate of Princeton University. Been the head coach at Tampa Catholic since 1990. Has 10 1,000-yard rushers and 6 1,000-yard passers. And indeed, we will get the option pass. Number 11, Robert Williams, looking deep downfield and has a man. Oh, my. It's a foot race to the end zone, and he won't get in. Although there are 3 seconds to go in the game, everybody on the field thinking trick play, and the trick play worked. Williams to Rod Perry Jr., who has had a huge first half.
Well, that was just tremendous effort and athletic ability by Robert Williams because the play was not there. But he had the ability to keep the play alive by just scrambling around. Now he turns quarterback. Look at this. He's looking downfield, looking for his receivers all the way. Goes, and now you see a John Elway pass back across the field to Rod Perry Jr. as he tries to stretch out to get into the end zone.
Unbelievable. 68 yards on the pass completion. Robert Williams, the wide receiver turned quarterback, headed to Miami. Look at a little stutter step by Branch now, and oh, they bite on the play. Uh-oh, Ron Israel.
Well, Ron Israel's just had a tough day today because this is once again where he gets beat, and it's all because he relaxed and lost sight of his receiver. And there you see the East squad coming in and knocking him out of bounds before they score.
All right, Nat. First down, goal to go on the 3-yard line with 3 seconds left. Do you go for the 3? Do you get the sure 3? Or do you go for the end zone?
Oh, this is an all-star game. You got to go for the touchdown.
I like it. I like the call. Bill Stubbs thinking exactly as you do. Edmund Stansberry will come in. Trips in the backfield as they form. Tommy Banks in there. Maliefu McKenzie and Dwayne Woods.
I would expect him to run something, trying to get on the corner.
Handoff and a fake.
There you go.
And it is a touchdown. They stack the backfield, run the fake to Dwayne Woods. Edmund Stansberry rolls out and rolls in for the 3rd touchdown of the first half for the West squad.
Well, you just know they had to bunch it up inside, and by stacking them up, Stansbury's able to sprint outside. There's just no one at home.
Edmund Stansbury, number 3 quarterback in America, is rated by the Sporting News. Headed for UCLA, and on the last play, headed for pay dirt. 20-7. Skursky set for the PAT. Snap, and the hold is good, and the kick is a low line hook that is no good. So the first half is over, and with our score 20-7 West over the East, let's go down to James Bates.
Coach, the trick play there with 20 seconds left in the half. You knew it was coming. You had your guys ready.
The paintball game. If you aren't familiar, paintball is one of the fastest growing team sports in America. It's been adopted by colleges and universities all over the nation, and in fact has been recognized by Salt Lake City as the type of team activity that can be organized and have a lot of fun with city leagues. So if you want to have a big time and get involved in a team sport that you might not have considered in the past, think paintball. We are at the half of the 1997 All-American Bowl in Palm Beach Gardens, and the West leads the East by a score of 20-7. The 1997 All-American Bowl is being brought to you by U.S. Amateur Sports. We're at the half, and it's 20-7 West over the East. The thunderstorms have subsided somewhat. Still a light rain falling here in Palm Beach Gardens, but the West squad has taken the field. We expect the East to do so momentarily. And with that, we welcome you back to the 1997 All-American Bowl. With Nat Moore, I'm Barry Milligan. A socky James Bates down on the sideline. The West, which deferred, will receive the second half kickoff from the East. West leading it 20-7. And Nat, you would have to assume that strategy will change big time under these conditions.
Well, at least the coaches would like for it to change, but believe it or not, Barry, the offensive game of throwing the football, if you can get your guys to hold on to the football and make the catch, the receiver has an advantage in the wet weather. So this is a good time to be putting the football in the air, but you need to make sure-handed catches.
Greg Owens puts foot to football, and it squirts just, it goes actually outside the pylon. The flag flies, and the West will take over without benefit of having an opportunity. And we take a look at out of the way. Jermise Jones again, along with Kurt Anderson, in on the stop, as it was short yardage for Dwayne Woods up the middle.
Well, I'll tell you what, you might say this is just another all-star game, but to these guys out on the football field, it's all about pride. As you see, they're starting to really mix it up, and tempers are flaring where they're getting after each other out there now.
One last pop, perhaps, before we move on. Of course, a lot of these guys will be facing each other again down the road.
And that's why you want to walk away from here with your head up and letting the guy know that you're not going to let him push you around.
Well, that's right. We've got some of those SC Notre Dame matchups to watch in the future. Again, fumbled snap. And you see number 92, Kenny Smith, beating his fist into the ground. Thought he had a shot at perhaps recovering that fumble. Came in there just a little bit late, but in any event, it'll be fourth down for the West.
Well, you know, you have to admire this East squad and what Coach Henriquez has been able to do with these guys. You know, they're out of the ball game. They've got very little chance of winning this ball game, but only 3:44 left to go. But they have not quit. They're still coming after him and refusing to die.
After the changeover on downs, East will have the ball when we come back, trailing the West 20-9.
The Tiger Shark feeding frenzy is going on now. It's your only chance to get a high-performance, high-powered Tiger Shark watercraft at a great deal. But time's running out. So hurry and get a Tiger Shark for $0 down and payments as low as $97 a month before they're all gone. Tiger Shark. Get hooked. For a free video and the dealer nearest you, call 1-800-5T-SHARK.
This season, don't miss the world champion Orlando Jackals as this championship team returns to our...
Richmond with a quick drop, tries to get the pass left side and does. It's complete over there. Little pop out of bounds. And the pass is complete to Tony Driver for a short gain. Eric Rosel put a little exclamation point. It was Marcus Tuiasosopo that's credited with the tackle. This is not the 5th period. We do have some special rules in the All-American Bowl. Adding an extra period is not one of them.
And the clock keeps going up. But that's all right. They'll get it straight. You know, what a great job they've done here today of getting this game in with the inclement weather and all the problems that we've had. The officials have done a superb job of handling the situation.
You are exactly right.
And I'm not one of those guys that usually give officials credit for anything.
I seem to recall a comment made by you, partner. They're always wrong anyway or something?
Well, you know, they get about 10% of it right.
Yeah, that's right.
No, they really do a good job. I'm just kidding. When you think of the tough job where they've got to make split-second decisions, 99% of the time they are right on it.
Well, especially the high school officials, too, who are just the love of the game in a lot of respects. So after a gain of 6, it's 2nd and 4. Richmond over center, takes a snap, straight drop back, and he's looking deep. So hard to grip that football, and it's going to be intercepted. Intercepted by the West. Tuiasosopo comes up with the interception, and he is run out of bounds right at midfield over on the east sideline. So Tuiasosopo, 6'2", 198, going to Washington. Will do so with an interception to add to his resume in this 1997 All-American Bowl.
Well, you know, it's kind of tough for a quarterback to throw the football in this kind of weather unless he's got big hands, because the ball is slick and it's hard to get a grip. And then Luke Richmond doesn't have a strong arm as is, so it's even tougher for him out here today.
So at mid,
didn't get down on the football by coming up with the interception. You know, I'm very surprised to see the West put the ball in the air. I guess they're still worried about that 40% rule of throwing the football, but this is not the time when you got the game in the bag to throw it up for grabs. And Simmons comes to the middle of the field, picks it off, and then turns on the speed.
Boy, Stanford Simmons will join a very youthful core of defensive backs down at Auburn University. Coach Terry Bowden has a lot to look forward to with the DBs he has coming back, and joined by a guy the caliber of Stanford Simmons. Great athlete, and he comes up with a long interception return for a touchdown. And now factor in that, as you and I were just talking moments ago, hey, it's an all-star game. Anything can happen. You never give up. I mean, they're a 2-point conversion and a field goal away from tying the game.
Well, that's the beauty of football. You know, you continue to battle, and as long as you continue to battle, anything can happen until that gun goes off.
And the East will go for 2, but first the West takes timeout. East going to go for 2, and then you know that there will be an onside kick in the future after that.
Perfect weather conditions for an onside kick. Here's another look at it as ball's thrown up for grabs. Stanford Simmons comes in, and I mean, look at the water squirting as he goes. You talking about picking him up and laying him down. And to be able to move this fast in such bad weather, I mean footing conditions, shows you the type of speed that this man possesses.
Well, Aaron looked at the backside. Pollock took a shot at it. Nobody even close, as Stanford Simmons had 9 interceptions during his senior season in high school. Comes up with another one here in the All-Star game, as he will head to Auburn on a high note. That cuts the score to 20-15. The clock is not operating at the moment, so we are unsure exactly how much time is left in this football game. We do know plenty of time for a 2-point conversion and an onside kick.
Well, you know, we will see at least 2 more plays.
Driver, slot right, coming to the near side. is Ron Israel in the game. Richmond looking, lofts one in the air into the end zone. Israel makes the catch for the two-point conversion.
Good job by Ron Israel of working the sidelines, keeping his feet in bounds, going up, taking the ball away from the defender as Luke Richmond pumped 2 or 3 times, so Israel was able to get open in the back of the end zone.
Ron Israel, 6'1", 185, going to Notre Dame. His brother Steve, a member of the San Francisco 49ers, and he does the family proud.
Well, they've got him covered earlier, but the one thing that Luke Richmond did not do was throw the ball up for grabs. He held on to it, pumped it a couple times, and gave Ron Israel a chance to work his way free of the defender as Ron Israel goes up, takes the ball away, and then keeps both feet in bounds.
Well, Eric Rosel just overruns the play a little bit. His momentum carries him past the play.
Well, he's trying to play the receiver, but the receiver comes back to meet the football, and that's the difference.
Out of Lawnside, New Jersey, one that got away from the Gators. Florida and Notre Dame recruited him heavily, and he chose the Fighting Irish.
Well,
but don't hold that against him.
Well, just think about this. Ron Israel has been burned twice today, and here was a chance for him offensively come in and burn somebody, so you know he was not going to let that opportunity get away.
20-17, our score. And now you have to figure the West in that front line. You get all of your good hands people up there in front, because teeing it up, number 13, Greg Owens, for what of course will be an onside kick opportunity.
And this is something you really don't get a chance to work on in a short week with the all-star team. You got guys out here that's never covered a kick before in their life.
And it's smothered. It didn't even travel 10 yards. Great job by number 45, Tommy Banks, the fullback who has played very well today. Smothers that one before it even traveled 10 yards.
Well, Tommy Banks is a very heads-up player that's a tough guy that he knows he's going to get hit, and he doesn't wait for that ball to take that funny bounce. He comes up, meets the football, gets on top of it. But as I said prior to the kick, you can see from that East squad, you got a lot of guys out there that's not used to covering those kicks, and they were sort of moseying on down there instead of going down there like fire was.
We'll meet center field with the West coming out. 20-17 the score. The West, I'm not sure we'll see it during the last possession.
Well, I would say this: if I have not gotten my 40% of passes in, I am just in trouble, because I'm not throwing it again.
Make them DQ you.
That's right.
At this point, handoff in the backfield from number 4, Drew Miller. The handoff made to Dwayne Woods. There'll be a loss of a couple on the play, and the East will take time out to try and conserve what few seconds there are left and try and get one more possession.
Well, they're keeping the time down on the field with the back judge. So, you know, if you can hold them and get the football back, throw it up for grabs, who knows who'll come down with it.
We've seen that. We saw it on the last West possession.
Yeah, but the only thing was the West threw it up and the East came back with it. You'd like to have a little bit more success where you throw it to your guy.
Second down. Be about 12 to go on the play after Woods.
Almost looked like a soccer-style kick as he gets it to the side, and he just booms it. He doesn't care. He's just trying to get it out of there. Anything not to get it blocked.
So it's East ball.
East ball, I think they're out of timeout, so you know they've got to make something happen here as we look at the clock with only 1 minute and 6 left to go.
And they're on their own 18-yard line with 1:06 to play in the football game.
But when you got a kid like Herman Banks with tremendous speed, if you can just get it into his hands and give him a chance to make something happen.
Now pass over the middle by Richmond, intended for Jasper Sanks, drops incomplete. Ty Gregoric on the coverage out there, able to break that one
out of the middle of the field and pick it up, and Herman Banks had no chance for the football.
Exactly right, no chance at all, and good coverage back there incidentally to allow Tuiasosopo to get in there